You're listening to the Go Lightly Martial Hour on freedomtalkradio.net. freedomtalkradio.net.
All right, hello to whoever is in the chat room. Here, Adam, Patrick, all right. Thanks, guys, for being so early in the chat room. We've got an exciting show today. I'm standing behind my computer, which is at the other end of the pool table. I'm moving around just to set up the program for today. Hi guys over there on the YouTube. Well, what happened?
Well, it was a surprise to me, but we seem to have hit a point in time which several things happened in our personal lives, but also I think the miracle of the week was the old man who had held off selling this huge gold reserve to a friend of ours now, who was the ambassador for the Vatican, and a man married to one of the wealthiest women in New Guinea, 5th generation Chinese woman. And he, when he saw me, because he had grown up in Turin, was familiar with the shroud, and he just looked at me and didn't sort of move, so as if he was transfixed for a few seconds. And then I tried to say something, we couldn't get a word in edgeways because she started talking.
No. Well, I could see that he was stunned, and we're out in a public place in his shop, and I just said, have we got somewhere private to go to? So we walked in and then went the launch, but it was you who took over that. But that was then. No, this show is dedicated to the fire that has been lit.
Yeah, but
all right?
What I'm trying to point out is that the flow of lava, of fire, if you like, is coming from several directions. And the one is that very well known throughout gold buyers and dealers in New Guinea is this tribe that has a very large deposit of gold in a pit. Because what had happened, this old man had a dream the night before. This friend of ours, Reggie, the ambassador, who was out fossicking for gold and going to all these different places, and he had heard about this enormous amount of gold that he thought he'd get his hands on.
Well, he went to check it out.
And he went to check it out, went into the tribe, spoke to the old man, and the old man said, last night I had a dream that I'm not to sell. So he didn't. This is quite a while ago. So apparently the pit is genuine because Reggie saw it. He's a gold dealer. There's something you can't... What?
No, Reggie sat on it. There was no pit at that time. This is the inside story from our man who is related to the tribe. It was after Reggie went and sat on this deposit, and he's saying to the old man, where is it? And he said, well, he's sitting on it. And he's like, oh my God. It was after that the old man dug a pit, and then he loaded the pit, covered it all over with leaves, piece of corrugated iron, and slept on it as the guardian of these resources. That's how it happened. And that was after Reggie had been. You got to get the storyline right.
Is there a pit there now?
There is a pit there now.
Did the old man slip him?
He did. And this
Did
was Terry's information.
We're just trying to sort this out. Did he tell Reggie that he had the night before had a dream that he's not to sell it?
That's right, yes.
Okay. So Reggie knows about it?
He does.
He verified it just gold?
Absolutely.
A huge amount?
That's right.
Right. So very disappointed he left?
That's right, yes.
Okay. Our first meeting with Reggie, he told us about this gold.
That's right.
As a local folklore, if you like, but it is true. Turns out that our man who was working for us ended up there by a series of interfering strange manoeuvres by other members of his village that, whether they're divinely inspired, I don't know. It appears they were, but the way they went about
Attacked him.
was attack in the sense of verbal and pushing him around and all sorts of things, and didn't go to where we had this other gold deposit for him. Already his brother was meeting at the airport to pick it up. All he had to do was go there, fly there and fly back. Right? That was it. But no, he's forced to go and also pay for an old man to fly up to the same little city, little town. So while he's there, he's got the horrors. He goes out to see this old man who is like a father to him, because his daughter had married a cousin of our buyer named Perry. All right. So he then shows him the photographs of me and the Pope and curing AIDS and all this kind of thing that goes back in time. Well, this was very, very moving for the old man, so he said that he will now release the product into us, to get rid of it, to move it.
Using the deposit.
And Perry gave him a deposit, which is fine. Something you wouldn't normally do, but in this case, because he's the father figure for Perry through the relation of his daughter married to his cousin. They're all sort of related in that way. And as a result of that, we now have this enormous amount of product that we have to organise and get it out of there. Problem is that it can't be kept secret. So that's what we're talking about now. It can't be kept secret. We make a phone call, ASIO listens, Mossad listens, so they know what's going on, right? They know the airfares that we paid from the credit card and all this kind of thing. So there's no way we can keep our tracks out of the limelight. So now we have this series of what I refer to as fire, lava fire, if you come out of this sort of volcano. And it's all happening. So now you can go.
All right. So last night we were. Yesterday was a good day. It was just a good day. And then
it was late at night, right?
Last night, late at night, we have a gas stove with it's gas, and you have to push in the igniter, then turn the other handle to light a flame. Last night we were sitting here, and the igniter kept coming on. Tick, 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 tick,
this
tick,
is
tick.
a modern Italian design. It's not a piece of crap.
Yeah, no. Tick, 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 tick.
$5,000
Now, it's impossible for that to come on unless somebody is pushing in. So we're listening to it here several times, over and over. We go over to it. We're standing by, and it's doing the same thing. And I'm saying, this is impossible. Look, it only happens when you push and hold it in. So this went on and on and on.
We'll start and stop and walk over, we'll stop and walk away and start again.
It came to after 11 o'clock.
Oh, hurry up.
Now, so what is it? It's the igniter that starts the fire, the flame on the stove. So in this pathetic parallel world that we live in, I go in to check the Facebook messages, anything like that, before we go to bed. It was 11:17 as I checked the messages. And there's a message that first came in from Scylla in London. She'd heard from Dex and posted a link to the Daily Mail Australia all about Yar and a man being tricked by what is calling himself Jesus, a man in the USA, America, being tricked. And then there were two other messages from Ashley and then Petra, who had found the same thing. Petra was going, yay, I've already forwarded the article to her German contacts, because Petra is involved in the publications of some very high-end magazines, and she's looking at running a story on us. And Ashley was a little bit concerned, and so we don't know anything about this. So we click on the link, and there it is, this marvellous article about, it's got the images of the Shroud of Turin. We couldn't have done a better job ourselves. And the one that we read first was from somebody called Liam Quinn, who is supposed to be a journalist for the Daily Mail down here in Australia. And he's just writing this article quoting most of what Pope Benedict had said, with the photographs, the Shroud of Turin, our wedding photo in Fiji, all of it. It was marvellous. And it came in from a single comment that was left by John's stepson-in-law, I believe it is, who is a really good guy. But he doesn't understand what's happening in John's life, and so he left this comment on a site called Reddit. I don't even know what it is, but I've posted the link on Facebook, and that was picked up. Now, how's this for digging for the truth? This is how the news makes headlines today. Somebody picks up somebody's comment from some lame forum and makes a headline story with it on these online, what are they called, publications, the tabloids. Tabloids or not. Congratulations, Liam Quinn, and then it's been picked up by the Mirror in the UK by some female who's done about the same amount of digging as Liam Quinn. But they've done a great job because they're advertising the fact that the Christ is indeed returned. And it doesn't matter what kind of angle they've come from. As a matter of fact, after I read the Liam Quinn article, I thought, this guy sounds like he's actually for us, the way he's presented it. And of course, we learned from Stephen Marshall 6 years ago in 2009 that in order to escape the censors, you have to present this negative angle, but come in with all these positives, which is the truth. And so, God bless the tabloids. They've been the only ones to able to get past the censors of Protocol 14, we shall forbid Christ, because the Jews own all the media. So to hear what has... Now, who is the man, of course? Well, it's John Lynch. Now, he has his story. And John, if you can hear this, I'm going to type a message to you. At Skype, John's going to call in. And we'll hear... I'm going to change the camera angle to be on John once I hear it come in and answer it.
Well, why don't you bring the program up that is on the Daily Mail? Run through that first.
Yeah. I'll try to do that once John comes in. I don't want to mess with the timing or anything. We'll just wait for John to come in and see what happens. Now this itself will be historic. Here it comes. Are we hearing it? Why are we not hearing it?
Because you're very silly.
You've got a microphone in here, right? In this computer?
I don't know.
John, you're there. Can we hear you?
Yep, I can hear you.
Oh, good. That's awesome. Okay, I'm going over to change the camera angle so it's on you. And, you can tell your story. Just a minute.
Where should I start? Oh, goodness. The first I came across y'all was actually from a negative comment from a gentleman named Jonathan Kleck. And I believe he actually is a prophet of some sort, but he doesn't believe it at all. I've tried to talk to him several times, but anyways. There was a comment that said, this is the reason why the world is today, is people like this. And he was referring to y'all. And of course I had to look at it, right? And the minute I heard your voice, y'all, I knew, just like I told you the first time I talked to you, that your yes was your yes and your no was your no. And all you were about was just telling people the truth about what was going on. And I'll tell you what, I had a battle with myself for a long time because I couldn't really fathom everything that was happening. All the numbers that would come up when I talked to you. all the numbers that would come up when I talked to other people that knew you. And there was always the 111s. And the first night that we spoke, we had a conversation, and we got cut off. And I remember it ended in 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 11 seconds. And then I went to bed. And I laid down. I thought it was really late. And I laid down, I rolled over, and it was 11:11. And then only my wife knows this about me because she lays next to me, and she knows that when my head hits the bed, I usually don't wake up until the alarm goes off at 4:30 in the morning. Well, that night, my head hit the pillow. I was woken up at 1:11 in the morning, 2:22 in the morning, 3:33 in the morning, and somehow 4:44 because my alarm clock is always set at 4:30. But for some reason, I either woke up and shut it off, and I still don't remember if I shut it off or not. All I remember was waking at 4:44. And, I knew that was the angels just telling me that this is a real deal. Don't think anything less than what you've been thinking. It was just them getting me ready, but I wasn't ready because I still was looking for reasons to prove you wrong. But never failed. No matter where I turned, the numbers would come up when I'd be thinking about you or I'd be talking about you. And I'd look at the clock, and there would be 11:11 or 1:11. It didn't matter where I was. It could even been somewhere out. I'd look at a sign or something, and I'd be thinking about you, and the sign would have 11:11 on it, or 111 miles to somewhere. I remember one time. And then I remember me and Denise got in a pretty big fight about you and everything, and we were heading to Sacramento. And I never leave without my phone. And I'll tell you what, I've never seen anything like this in my life. I don't think I've even told you this. We were driving down the road, and I looked up in the sky, and there was the perfect Shroud of Turin. It was you. I couldn't deny it. Oh, I reached in my pocket. Oh, God, no phone. Oh. But I knew at that moment that it wouldn't have mattered, because if I had taken that picture, I know that my phone wouldn't have saw what I saw. So I knew it was just a divine thing that happened. And then there was the dream that I had, and there was so much in between there, but these are things that really stand out. I went to bed. I don't know if it was after I talked to you again or not. I don't think it was. I think it was shortly after I talked. And I had a dream one night. And, everybody knows, well, you know, but you tell them, I take care of tropical fish, as I've been doing for 33 years of my life. I'm a maintenance company, and I go around taking care of people's fish aquariums and, taking care of their fish and curing them when they get sick and the whole ball of wax. And so I had a dream one night, and there I was in a strange place. Don't know where it was. Wasn't familiar. And I had a fish tank that I was cleaning. I was actually getting ready to tear it down. At least in the dream, that's what it seemed like, because I had it drained all but within just a couple inches of the bottom of the tank. And there was 2 little clownfish here. That's all that was in there, was 2 little clownfish. And I snatched one of them up with my hand, and I was going to put him in a container, and he flopped right out of my hand. Fell on the floor. And of course, right away I got down the floor, because I was going to snatch him up. And he flopped his way all the way underneath this cabinet, all the way to the very back of the cabinet. And so naturally, I got underneath there as fast as I could to snatch him up, because I didn't want him to get all, dirty and dried up. And I remember reaching way underneath there. I'm just like, I was thinking I can't reach him, but I just got to him, and I clutched him in my hand. And just as I clutched him in my hand, out of the corner of my eye, I looked, and I could see a web from a black widow that was attached to my shoulder. And I knew that there was nowhere to go. He was right there. I was going to get there. So I closed my eyes instantly. And the next thing I know, I was standing in front of Yah, and he had his hand out. and I handed him the fish. And that was the end of the dream. Then I remember telling you about the dream.
Yeah.
And I don't believe I told you there was 2 fish. And I can't remember. And my recollection of it was that you reminded me that there was 2 fish because you said, after I told you the story, you're going to bring me 2 big fish. I didn't really know exactly what that meant at the time. I mean, I had an idea. But in fact, there was a couple times where I thought, I'm just waiting for someone that I can bring to y'all, you know. And then many things. I actually had a dream that probably you know, y'all, and I'm not going to tell anybody. I believe you know it because you were there in the dream. And that's when I think you were actually warning me that I need to straighten my life out. And you were so kind to me in that dream. And what I was doing was so wrong. And you just looked at me and you said, you can't do that anymore, John. You can't do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I remember.
I know you did. But you were too kind. You were so kind. You know, most people would have beat me over the head, you know. I mean, quite frankly, some people would have killed me. I know I probably would have done that myself. I would have contemplated it if what I was doing would have happened to me. And so anyways, that didn't change me, y'all. It took a long time. It's been 4.5 years now. And not until 2 weeks ago did I realize that I could stand in front of you and look you in the eye.
Yeah. Looking forward to it.
Me too. Because now I know it's going to happen. There's been so many other things, but I have to tell you, when we had the talk, and I decided to come after my last big fight with my wife about it. And, you know, I want to make a record of this right now. That I have never not wanted my wife to be with me. I want her to be by my side through this whole thing. But she just can't. She can't fathom it, and she doesn't. She wants to fight me all the way. She doesn't believe me. She's, quite frankly, willing to almost commit me. But the other day, when I finally decided, I knew my wife was leaving, and I'd already decided I was coming to be with you. I told Ash I was coming, and you said the door was open. That morning, I got out of the shower, and I got that nudge that I get from the angels. You know, I'm sure a lot of these guys that are following you and listening to you, y'all get the same nudges. And whenever I get that nudge, I always look up whatever that number is. Well, I was on the scale, and the scale was 299 pounds and 8 ounces.
I'm leaving.
Okay.
And please go questions for medicine in the morning.
All right, I can do that for you.
I'm going to be back to change, but that's about it.
Okay. Okay. As I said before. So anyways.
Perfect timing, John.
Huh?
That was perfect timing. I was thinking of the Black Widow.
I'm saddened by this, y'all, because I really love that woman.
Of course you do.
Excuse me for a minute. But anyways, I got on the scale that morning, and I looked up the number in the Strong's Concordance, and you all know what it said. It talked about building paradise, basically. About being with you. Like that's happened so many times along the way. I tell you what, I don't quite frankly know how these angels did it, but I'll tell you what, they have orchestrated so many things in my life to even be able to be open to what I'm experiencing right now. Like my name, John the Fisherman. I had a hard time with that for a long time. But it's funny, I remember praying a prayer just shortly before I even came across you. I asked God, I said, just show me him. I'll tell the world. Just show me him. I know he's going to come back. Just show me him. And I knew that I was going to live to see you. I told my wife this years ago that I knew that I was going to, in my lifetime, I was going to see you on this earth. I knew it. But I didn't really understand it. I thought you were coming on a big horse in a white cloud. Which would have been really cool, but nonetheless, that's not how it happened.
John, just remember this. If anybody does come that way, it's the Project Bluebeam hologram.
Bluebeam, yeah. Oh, my gosh. So,
well, the point is you can get over here and then absence makes the heart grow fonder, and maybe your wife will start to realise as we are speeding up towards our reality is the true one, then it becomes inescapable for the rest of the world to ignore it. Therefore, she's going to join you. You've got to make that step, though. You've got to be strong about it and say, that's it, I've had enough.
I'm with you, y'all. I'm good. I'm good. I haven't felt stronger, and I haven't felt calmer in a long time. It's hard knowing you.
It is very hard knowing you. This is the taking up your cross.
Yeah. It's really hard knowing you. But I knew that the day I met you. I don't know if you remember me showing you that list, because I remember the day that I came across you, I immediately made a list of every single person that I've ever met in my life. Not women, just men. And I called them all.
Yeah, you told me.
Yeah. Called them all, and they all just laughed at me. A couple of them are sitting by the sideline right now watching me. They're really good friends. They're waiting. I have a feeling some of them are actually going to be with us over there. Yeah. There's a couple of them I'm pretty sure that once I get there and things start to transpire, and there'll be one to flock over there.
John, think about yourself as being the dragnet.
John the fisherman.
Well, I told John today, I said, well, last time I lost my head, the only thing I've lost so far is my mind.
What did I tell you this morning? John the Baptist was a little tiny fella, and there's about 6 of them would sit in your huge carcass today.
Well, I probably, with that little body, I thought I better make up for it in this lifetime.
Yeah, that's how it works, yeah.
So anyway, not like I don't have any recollection. I want everybody to know that I don't know anything about a past life. It's just an assumption in my mind that I believe that that's probably who I was.
Well, why not? Got to be someone.
What's that, y'all?
It's got to be someone. It was John the Baptist who actually declared that this was the Son of God.
Yeah, that's right.
And a lot of opposition to the point of losing his head.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So today the world is far worse than those days, because at least you could confront people and be in a small crowd, whereas here it's international and it's controlled totally by the Zionists that have it all covered, absolutely all covered. But they make a slip up now and then, and it's always to my advantage and our advantage and your advantage. In this case, with this Daily Mail, with your son-in-law.
Now, talk about Jesse, because you described Jesse to us, and how is he feeling right now? Seriously, he has lit this fire, which is awesome.
He's probably a little bit overwhelmed right now.
But
when I met Jesse, I knew right away he was a good man. I knew he was a good soul. He treats my grandson. It's not his. He has his own granddaughter now, Amelia. But he treated Ian just like he was his own. And I knew when I met him, I love that man the first time I met him. I knew he was going to be good, but he was kind of shy. He had really long hair. It hung down over his eyes. You could only ever see one eye, half the time, And he was always on that damn phone. But he's a smart kid. He's really smart.
How old is Jesse?
He is, I think he's got to be 30 now. I'm thinking he's a little bit older than my daughter. I think he's maybe 30, maybe 30 something. I'm going to have to ask him now because I don't know. I feel embarrassed. But anyways, I knew he was a good guy because the way he treated my son, like my grandson. But I don't think he realized what he started. He called me today afterwards. And I mean, right when it started, right when the fire started, he called me. Because he knew I was going to get it and he didn't want me to get it from someone else. I'm going to read you what he said to me. I don't even find it. Because he was all apologetic right away. And I told him there was no need to be apologetic.
Tell him we congratulate him. Thank him.
I did. I thanked him. This is what I said to him. He said, "Hi, John. I'm pretty sure you're going to see the news article that your friends are posting. I had posted something in a small message board, and I was at the Read It board, and found it, and a reporter found it and made a story out of it. It's pretty obvious who the article refers to, so I'd rather tell you about it. I did not intend for the journalist to pick up the story. I was just looking for some support and feedback from some like-minded people. We all love you, and the kids will miss you. I really hope you find what you're looking for. I apologize about the publicity. He just has no idea. Although it's all anonymous, well, it isn't anymore. Quite embarrassing. I'm quite embarrassed about it. And I don't really understand what he means if he's embarrassed for me or embarrassed that it came out. I said, thank you, Jesse. I love you very much. One thing I know about you is you will take good care of my Chelsea and my grandchildren. You're a good man. What you did today, no one else has been able to do. And believe me, many have tried. I know you meant no harm. Something I want you to know, Jesse, is not once did I not want my wife to come with me. You don't understand our relationship because you're not there. I love my wife, and I want her to be by my side no matter what. Just know, Jesse, if you need anything from me, just because I'm in another country doesn't mean I can't be there. If it's within my means, it's yours, and there's no apology needed. Jesse wrote, I didn't mean anything by it, and for the record, the journalist used the term abandon. He just took from my message board and took the liberties with what I said. And he didn't say that. You read it. You know he didn't say that. I find it quite shocking that you are leaving, but I know that no one is going to change your mind. I try to let people believe what they want. If you are going to have any new relations, that will have to come from within. And I did not use any personal information in the post, at least. So no one is named, at least. I guess you have to watch what you say on the internet. I said, it's okay, Jesse. You don't have to explain anything. Jesse, I've loved you since the time I met you. I knew you were a good soul. I see how you treat my children with nothing but love. I thought what I was sharing was only going to be, this is Jesse, I thought what I was sharing was only going to be seen by a handful of people. Boy, was he. Oh, poor kid. Oh, God, I can't read a dang thing without these glasses. He said, it's only going to be able to see by a handful of people. I was surprised to see that message. The journalist had contacted me, but I never wrote him back. It was not what I said. It was not that I said anything bad, really. I just feel that it's a personal thing, and I did not intend for it to blow up like this. Thanks for being so understanding. That was it.
Well done, Jesse.
Thank you, Jesse.
Oh, dear.
We'll call him Jesse James from now on, the outlaw.
Jesse James. He's a good kid. I love that kid.
Yes.
I love him. He's just a wonderful man. I'm not worried about my grandchildren or my daughter at all.
Yeah.
He'll take good care of them.
Good.
He always has.
Yeah, well, once you're here, we'll be set up. We've got lots of cash. You'll be able to jump a plane and go back anytime you feel like it.
Yeah, here we're rich.
Absolutely. We got millions coming in.
Now, John, of course, also, you're a bit dismayed by the comments that are coming in. And I said, listen, it's all good, and remember, it's all about Yah. But people, of course, I read some comments, to shut up the assets, keep them away, lock up the bank accounts, all those kinds of things. Tell people about your house that you told us the other day, reselling the house.
You can't sell it.
Because?
Yes, there's just so many things wrong with it.
Right, and it should have been...
Let me tell you something about this little house that I live in. It is called a dam house. And if anybody knows about the dam house, I live in a town called Shasta Lake, California. Shasta Dam. People are probably very familiar with Shasta Dam. The people that lived here, they'd had these little teeny tiny houses that worked on the dam. They were all up by the dam. And at some point when they got the dam finished, a lot of these people took these homes and they put them on foundations and built homes out of them. And they used usually more than one because they were very teeny. I believe the kitchen, the bathroom, and the living room and the bedroom were all in one room. We have no reason or rhyme where this house started and where it ended, and which part was one house and which part was another house. I am 6'4", and there's not a doorway in this house that I won't hit my head on if I step up.
Now, because Jesse, of course, he was blown away by the fact that a realtor had already been called in. Well, what did the realtor say to you?
She comes over, you should see. She's actually a friend of ours. She's a friend of mine. In fact, I met her, quite frankly, right shortly after Yah, and I wanted to really do something with this woman in growing food, and just think she bought this piece of property that had, I don't know how many acres. She had a blueberry farm on it. I was over there helping her, and
I remember.
I remember.
Yeah.
Yep.
And my wife got really jealous, and so that was the end of that. Stopped going over and talking to her.
Yeah, the jealousy factor, huh?
Yeah, that's what it was. It was just jealousy. And it was actually about a comment. Might as well bring it out there because she'll probably say something about it. It was about a comment. I said, I like the way you play in the dirt.
Yeah, that's right. I remember.
Yeah, and it was.
She's blonde and looks like Marilyn Monroe, doesn't she?
No, I don't think so. No. So, anyways, but that was a comment. She was very upset by it. She felt like I had something going on there, and there was nothing going on. But anyways, but this little house. So anyway, she comes over to the house, and as soon as she looks at it, she goes, "I'm not touching this place." Just there was too much to disclose. There's so many things wrong with it. The floors are uneven. All the thresholds are under 7 foot. The ceilings are 7 foot tall. I mean, if I jumped up and down, I could hit my head on the ceiling.
Actually, you could do that now for the camera. You're on show.
Actually, I think this ceiling is the only ceiling in the house that's actually to code. This is an added-on piece. But if you walk in the hallway and the rest of the house, it's not that tall. It's very shallow, very, very low. In fact, one day I'll never forget it. One day I was really sick. And I came walking out of the bedroom, and I went to go pull my pants up like I always do because they're falling off my butt all the time. And I freaking hit my head on the threshold. And I told my wife, I almost tore that freaking wall down that day, but I didn't.
Tell me, did you let out an "oh fuck" at the top of your voice?
Pretty much. That was it. I don't know. It knocked me so silly. I don't think I said a damn thing because I felt like my head went down into my spine.
Can I tell you a funny story while we're on this? We are staying in what was an old monastery in Germany called Inn. The place was called Inn, I-double-N. There was a room at the inn for us for 2 nights. Now, popes had visited. I think there was even a photograph of Pope Benedict on the wall and other popes, etc. This was a hallowed, holy place, very old, with some restoration to it, rooming house accommodation. Now, lovely place.
I remember a video of it.
Right. So we have to get to our room, which is at the back, the add-on. But Yah has to walk the hallway and climb a step where the roof line is lower. And of course,
it was tapering down, and the way they'd speckled the ceiling, you couldn't actually make it out.
It was quite dark. Anyway, he hit his head like you did, right smack bang on his forehead. Well, my God, those hallowed walls reverberated with the power of God going, oh, fuck! And he...
I bloody near knocked myself out. I've always admired the Germans, but not this time.
Never before.
Oh.
Okay, I'm going to take you for a little walk in my house because you said something about a ceiling that tapers down.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you something beautiful about my house. All right. This is my little damn house. And that's my beautiful little backyard that I'll be leaving soon.
Oh, that's good.
And actually, this ceiling really isn't that. It's low, too, because if you look at this.
Yes.
There's a ceiling right
Oh, you can tell. Oh, my
Right.
goodness. You've got
there.
inches.
Low, too.
Inches
Yeah.
above your head.
I want to show you my bathroom that I have to go into. I'm not going to show you my bathroom. I'm going to show you the ceiling in it. You see that ceiling?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's part of it. This is what we haven't figured out about this house. Then I go in here. Now, this is a threshold. I mean, as you can see, I can. This is a threshold right here. My head
Right, you
yeah.
can't even stand upright. It looks like a hobbit house.
That's the one I hit my head on. So anyways, let me go back in here. And if you see that ceiling that tapers down there?
Yes.
Then they've got this. I don't have any idea what this is or how they started it. It's our laundry room now. But see that ceiling, how it goes back?
Oh, yes. Oh,
You know
John.
how many times I've whacked my head
love
on
that
that
place
thing
at
right
home.
there?
No wonder you've lost your head. You've been decapitated several times just walking into lowered ceilings. It reminds me...
I have literally whacked my head on that thing because I have to duck for that. I literally have to duck or I'll whack it.
Right.
And of course the laundry room's right in here, so I'm in here all the time.
Yes.
But anyway, so that's, speaking of ceilings that go that taper down, I have one that I can complain about too, I'll tell you. Oh, God.
It reminds me of our upper room in 5 months in Rome. Concrete ceiling, tapered down like that. Yah could only stand up in the very middle of the room, not in the kitchen. And he whacked his head on that a few times too.
I said to the realtor gal, I said, well, couldn't we make like vaulted ceilings?
So the bottom line is, she said she's not touching it with a barge pole. You can't sell this. It should have been condemned and never been on the market in the first place, right?
No, it really shouldn't have. They should have tore it down.
Yeah.
It's been here way too long. There's too many things wrong with it. I mean, we came into this house, and here's basically what happened. It's like anybody. If you've never bought a home, you don't know a damn thing about it. We never bought a home. We didn't know anything about buying a home. And the only way we were going to afford a home was to buy it through a private party because no one would touch us because I own my own business, and I don't show enough income.
Yeah.
So, so anyways, we found a place. We had $10,000 down on it, and we found it in the Craigslist of all places, and we met him over here. Within 2 days, we were signed, and we owned a house that quick. And we were just basically like lambs to the slaughter.
Totally.
Because all we wanted, we saw this house, and I didn't care. I didn't care how short the damn ceiling was. I'll fix it. You know, most of it can't be fixed. You can't fix a ceiling. You can't fix a doorway that's in a 7-foot house that's 7 foot. So I fixed a lot of things around here, but some things just can't be fixed. I can't make an 8-foot ceiling. There's no way I'm going to make an 8-foot ceiling unless I put a whole new roof on it. Well, the money to cost to do all that stuff, you might as well tear this place down and start all over again.
Yeah, bet.
Absolutely.
So we just found that out, and we were going to try and, go through attorney, and this is all still up in the air. So nothing's really been done. It's just all talking about right now.
Mm.
I was hoping that we would be able to just sell it, and Janice could have the money from it and give me a little bit of it, and we'd go on our way. But it's looking like we ain't gonna get nothing out of this house. We'll be lucky to, even if we were to try and sell it, we'd probably be lucky if we got our money out of it.
Mm.
So, and we could sell it. We've been told we could sell it, but then we'd be reliable for all the stuff that's wrong with it, and it would be on us. And we've had people tell us we need to sue them. I think what's going to end up happening, we're just going to walk away from it.
Well,
and,
certainly nothing to stay for, is it?
No, it's really not. I mean, I looked around a lot. I really am going to miss it. I'm going to miss mostly my damn dog.
Hmm.
I'm reading. I got a lost ops. Where's my Rhoda? I want to see my Rhoda. Show my Rhoda. This is my girl right here. And she doesn't like to be in a cage at all. She don't even like to be locked in a room.
Is she a Lhasa Apso?
She is a Lhasa Apso. My girl.
And her name is Rhoda?
Her name is Rhoda, and her nickname is Rhody Toady 2.
Rhody Toady 2. My first very own pet that was given to me was a blonde Lhasa Apso. Her name was Rebecca. Unfortunately, she was. We lived on a property that had no fences, and she had a habit of wandering off. And I picked her up one day off the road, and she was gone.
Oh.
Yes, I know. I mourned.
My first Lhasa, my wife brought home. It was going to be hers. It ended up being mine.
Of course.
Every night I'd fall asleep on the couch and she'd be on my neck. Her name was Missy, and she was a gold Lhasa.
Yes.
And my wife, well, of course, she had to have one the next year when her mom had more puppies, and so we got Maddie, and she was a white with a little bit of gold in her, a couple spots of gold in her back and stuff. And then we got another Lhasa, which she actually got killed on the road about 4 years ago, and she was the replacement. I was online for 4 days straight because I knew that my dog would want me to have another Lhasa because I love him so much and I treat him so good.
Yes.
And she means the world to me. Every Lhasa I ever had, they're special. There's just something about them. They're just lovers.
Yeah.
But dogs are all special anyways. I was telling a client, an old gal, she's about 70-something years old. And it's funny how we just don't think about things, but I've known this for years myself. And I said to her, aren't dogs special? She said, yeah, they're the best animals in the world. And I said, I agree. She goes, I said, that's probably why they're God spelled backwards. And she looked at me and her eyes got as big as sausage and she said, oh my God, I never realized that.
Yes, they do. They are all very special.
They are very, very special.
Yeah, well, there's lots of Lhasas out here in Aussie.
Yeah, this is one of your great creations, Joe. I have to tell you, I know that's why you spelled it God backwards.
Actually, Yah likes cats, which is also
Is a cat lover, Yah?
Yeah, mind you.
Dogs and cats, yeah.
Yeah, and dogs, of course. Dogs love him.
That's probably because cats aren't so clingy.
Well, cats are very distant. They can be distant.
I've had some beautiful cats. They're very, very friendly. I've trained them from babies. So they perform really like a dog as opposed to being a normal cat.
I had a cat that was like a dog one time. In fact, he was my father-in-law passed away, and I can't remember how we ended up come across this cat. I think one of the kids wanted it, and of course we got it for him. And I named it Louie because that was my father-in-law's name. And that cat loved me so much. She was like a dog.
Yeah.
And if I go out in the backyard and I called Louie, I don't care where Louie was at, he'd come running and he would jump right up on my shoulder. Only cat I've ever liked, y'all.
Yeah. No, you train them right, they become like a dog. But you can also bring your dog out to Australia,
Yeah, but you know what I found? I I've been doing a little research on it. 3 months in quarantine. I don't think she can handle it.
It used to be 6 months.
But at least it's where there's other animals, so they're not, they're not neglected.
And I think you can see them during the quarantine period. You can visit them.
Okay.
Now, what is interesting, and I just happened to read this because I don't know, as you know, we don't have any TV or anything. Oh, that's right, it must have been while we were in Port Moresby last week, because there was a TV in the apartment and watching world news from every other channel. I think it was Johnny Depp's wife visiting Australia got into trouble because she brought in her 2 little dogs and somehow got out of the quarantine. I'm not sure. But tell you a funny story there. When I was living in Canada, I was there for 8 years, from 1996 until I was thrown out in 2004. But one of the funny stories is that my sister-in-law here in Australia breeds border collies. She's now known all around the world for the quality of her border collies, and she exports the puppies to anywhere on the planet. At this time, I'm forgetting exactly what year, it might have been 2001 to whatever. Her prize dog named Jared had been leased for 12 months to a woman who was a friend of hers from the show circuit, who lived in Stockton outside of San Francisco. This woman was a doctor and she was a breeder as well, all connected. And they show the dogs all around the planet. My sister-in-law actually judges now, and she goes all around the world judging. But anyway, so Jared was leased for this 1 year. And at the end of the year, the woman refused to give Jared back to my sister-in-law. Now, it went on. Lauren tried everything to get the dog back through legal means, barristers, all these kinds of things. She knows quite a few people. And nothing was happening. In other words, this woman had dog-napped Jared. Well, I get a communication one day from Lauren to tell me the story about Jared. What Lauren ended up doing was, without telling anybody, she had a friend who was a pilot in Delta Airlines, the USA. Lauren flew to where she knew that Jared was going to be shown in Florida, and she just turned up. She had organised her pilot friend to drive the getaway vehicle. And of course, when Jared saw her from a distance, because she knew exactly where Jared would be, she just walked straight up to him, nabbed her own dog, back of the wagon. The Delta pilot hightails it, and she flew out of Florida via... No, I think they even drove to another state. Because what happened, as soon as it was on the alert, it went throughout the entire dog circuit, and Lauren became a fugitive. They notified every vet, every airport, etc., thinking that probably thinking she was heading straight back to Australia. Well, she flew Jared to me up to British Columbia via Canadian Airlines. I picked up Jared from the airport, and then it had already been arranged to take Jared to the home of a friend who knew nothing that was going on. These were an old couple. So I picked Jared up and took it to the hideout house, where he remained, I'm pretty sure it was 7 days. And this old couple had no idea that Lauren was now wanted as a fugitive, the lies of this woman. So when the time came, I then pick up, it was arranged through Australian quarantine, who were told the story of this woman stealing this famous Australian dog. And they waived the quarantine period. And bottom line is, I put Jared on the Qantas flight via Hawaii back into Sydney, Australia. He spent a very minimal amount, and then Jared got home. In the meantime, Lauren has become this fugitive throughout the dog world.
And the poor old couple that were looking after them got 3 years jail.
No. But anyway, it was quite the story. So,
that's funny.
Yeah, dogs can become very much part of your family. Well, in fact, in this case, my brother and sister-in-law don't have children because Lauren has raised dogs all of their married life and done really well at it. But, you know...
I had an aunt and uncle when I was very young, and I actually went out to visit them one year, and they had those, they're called Afghans.
Afghans, yes.
Really tall, lanky dogs.
With the long
legs.
Long coat, yes.
And they decided to never have kids either.
Yes.
Well, they had 2 Afghans, and they were their kids.
Yes.
And those Afghans, they sat just like humans at the table.
Yeah.
She would put their bowl at the table, and they would sit on that chair. Their legs would hang down just like a human's legs. They'd put their paws up on the table like that and eat as politely as could be at that table every night. And I went out to visit them one year, and I'd heard about it. I'd never seen it yet. And they lived in Oklahoma, and what a surprise that was for me, even coming from Redding. I've never been in such humid weather in my life. I get there, and there's no blankets on the bed. I said, "Where's the blankets, Aunt Judy?" She says, "We don't have blankets out here, sweetie." And so all they had was sheets. So you slept with a sheet. Well, I found out real quick what she meant by that. I didn't even have the sheet on. I slept on the top of the bed the whole time I was there. But I remember the first night I was there, I hadn't had like a bath in 2 days, right? Because my mom worked for Greyhound, and she sent me on the Greyhound bus, and she knew all the guys that were going to be driving. So she made sure that they all watched after me. I always think I was about 12 years old, maybe 13. And I got to Oklahoma safely, and I hadn't had a bath in 2 days. The first thing you did was wash my hair. But I remember that night, we all sat down at the table, and so did those dogs.
Oh, dear. And people think we're insane.
Yeah.
We definitely love our animals, that's for sure.
Yeah.
The most beautiful dog I had and the most intelligent was a Samoyed. Pure white. I actually took her to Africa with me, and I met some people there that had a private zoo, and they loved the dog, so it was too difficult at the time to take her back to Australia, and that's where she ended up, and that's where she lived out her life, in this perfect little petting zoo in the middle of Chingola, Zambia.
Oh, cool. We have a little story about, I think it was Alaskan Malamute, actually. And his name was Nanu. And one day, I remember the kids were really young. We lived up on this cul-de-sac. And Nanu showed up at our house. And, well, once we found out where he lived, we took him home. And every time he'd get out, we'd always ended up at those house. He loved those kids. And the lady said he loves kids, and he'd show up the door and wanting to play with the kids.
Ah.
That was what he was there for. He was there to play with the kids. He wasn't running off. He was coming to visit, because I'm sure he would have went home eventually. I had a dog. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the dog next door here. Actually, we captured it on video, didn't we? That's when that fellow from Utah was here. Brett, remember the first time we heard this? The first time we heard this, we thought somebody was being murdered. We had no idea it was the dog next door. And it went on. We captured it on video. Look up the stars the moment it first happened. All this stuff. Well, it's the dog. And anyway, seriously, this is one dog that is really stupid, or the owners are stupid, whatever. But this dog has a long coat, and the only way to get it to walk is to coax it every few meters with bits, doggy food. But it makes this howling, yelling noise to get the attention of the owner who is inside doing something. And we got to the point where Yara ordered about 5 of those collars, that give a zap from China. And I took one to her. I said, "Here, try this." And she said, "Oh, I've tried them before, it doesn't work." Well, what happened? It got so bad. I was outside in the street one day and could hear Tickles is the name of the dog. Could hear Tickles as I'm on a walk. Well, 2 neighbours, one beside me, the other over the road, men, were yelling at the top of their voices, "Shut that effing dog up!" Blah blah blah.
Nothing.
And the owners themselves are pretty deaf. So they couldn't hear what these neighbours were saying. Well, she came to me one day and thanked me very much for the collar. What she had done is that she took a dog to have a shave, took it to the groomers, shaved off all the hair, and then the collar, the dog could feel the pulse on the collar, and it has been quiet now for some time until the hair grows in. But yeah, some dogs are just, you know, or owners rather.
Yeah, it's funny. We have everybody around us has dogs, more than one, I'm sure. But you always know when somebody's home.
Yes.
Right around between 5 and 7 o'clock, you know so-and-so over there comes home because the dogs go crazy. When we come home, they go crazy. The ones across the street, they go crazy. The ones back to my right go crazy. It's like, oh, Mom and Dad are home.
Yes, and there's no better security than yeah, especially little yapping dogs raise the alarm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
yeah. I have a little, we don't know what he is. We call him, his name is Zeekbald. And he looks kind of like a red tick hound, but we're not really. He's kind of like a Heinz 57. But he's pretty funny. He's really smart. We think he understands English perfectly. And that's why he's so smart. You know, he understands English. I'm telling you what. He looks at you like, yeah, I got what you're doing, but I ain't going to do it. Yeah. But no, it's funny. He's so protective. And he's kind of like this. You can come in the backyard with me. He'll love on you, and you'll think you're the greatest person in the world. But the minute you step over the fence, you're the enemy.
That's amazing.
I don't care how many times you've been over here. And we didn't train him that. He learned that on his own. You know? But he's smart. He's a smart old guy.
I'm just seeing what's going on.
So she's just going up to look at the computer and see what's going on in the chat room. Maybe there's a question or two for you.
I think we should just turn the camera on you, y'all, because I haven't seen you in a long time. I'd really like to see you.
The only way we can do that, darling, can we do that with our camera? Or?
Yeah. I'll turn back to you. The guys have been listening over in the chat room. Thanks, guys. And all right, I'll walk back. We've got my computer at one end of the pool table today because having to have both computers on the internet at the same time.
Yeah, but this is not going back over to John, is it?
No, John, you'll only see this when you watch the replay on the YouTube, and there's a close-up of Yar, looking gorgeous in his green Hawaiian shirt. I in the article that Liam Quinn wrote, he happened to mention who wears a Hawaiian shirt. And I immediately wanted to edit the article. It was basically great, quoting Benedict, etc. But I wanted to edit the parts that, a compulsive editor. He said that Yah calls himself the most holy man. I'm saying, no, he is the most royal man alive, and he is the Holy Ghost. Big distinction.
Well, I never talk about myself. That's the whole point.
Yeah. But so the article was awesome. Of course, it showcased Pierre's work, the Shroud work, and Chuka's trailer in the article, and all about Pope Benedict, and quoting directly from the apostolic letter.
Well, going from a few lines from your nephew, from your son-in-law, he's looked the name up, and boom, he's gone and followed it through as a good editor or a good reporter should do, and I think he started to believe. Therefore, it's almost in between a rock and a hard place, because you've got to get this past the editor when you do something. And he did it very, very cleverly, that he put out all the information that I was saying, that I was the face on the Shroud of Turin, and this is what the Pope Benedict believed. Well, that's a very big statement when you consider anyone with any intelligence would realise that for the first time in 1900 and some odd years, you've had a church leader and one of the foremost scholars in the world who says this is so. Now, that is staggering when it comes to all the Catholics of the world, because when the Pope Benedict becomes Pope again, they have to go along with what he says. That's it, game over. So,
well, and the other thing is, go ahead, sorry, y'all, go ahead and finish.
Well, it's just that the Protestant world all believe that the beast is the Catholic Church, and they are correct. So once it becomes the Church of Christ, as under Christ, there's no reason to have Protestant churches, right?
Right. I'll tell you what, when you first started saying about the Catholic Church and Pope Benedict, I was totally thrown because that was the last thing I expected. But at the same time, I knew about the passage of the 7th and the 8th.
Yeah.
And I knew that this could be the only way it would happen. And it was happening right before my eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, people, think about it. And most people aren't even talking about this. It's like, he is the 7th, and he is not gone. And the only way you can have the 7th become the 8th is if the 7th is still around.
Right.
And he's still around. And in the history of the popes, there has never been a pope that's retired, as far as I know.
No.
Well, there was one guy, 600 years
600 years ago, there was 3 popes at the same time, apparently. So there was a bit of confusion going on there. But for the most part, the popes have been controlled by the one family, and they are the Medicis. So they're very, very prominent and very wealthy. Their accomplishments in trading wool and banking made them the people that financed likes of Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo. So that was also part of the family that was involved with in France with Mary Queen of Scots when she married the French king. So there's all sorts of people that were forced into positions and pushed into positions of being popes, which should not have been. But then you've also got good popes like Leo the 13th and people like that, and Pius the 9th, Pius the 11th and 12th and so forth. And of course Pope Benedict.
Yeah, I kind of saw that in him too. It's funny because I remember seeing the first pictures of him, and he really looked sick. And man, I tell you what, shortly after he got talking to you, he looked a lot better. I started seeing his eyes. He didn't have that redness around his eyes anymore. Because he really looked ill.
He looked like
they were trying to kill him.
It was,
Well, we changed his diet, you see. I just found out what he was doing, so we put him on the correct diet, and all of a sudden his health started to regain, because they were trying to kill him. They knew the prophecies just as well as I do.
Yeah. Who wouldn't know it better, right?
Yeah, all right.
It's just amazing people don't get that, though. I mean, they have to know that I'm surprised that more people aren't talking about, especially the Catholic, because, I mean, they know that verse so well. And here they are. They have the 7th Pope, and here they are with an 8th Pope that really should have never even been in there, quite frankly, because I've never, I don't follow it, but I've watched a few of the popes being, brought in and how they go through all the smoke, the dark smoke, and then the white smoke. And, it usually takes days.
Yeah.
Well, he went in, what, was it less than 24 hours?
Well, it was very quick.
Well,
2 days.
The conclave convened on the 12th, 3/12, which is the day that Benedict acknowledged.
My gosh.
Yes, hello, Synchronicity 312, the number of the name, Brian Leonard like the Marshall. So that was uploaded to the Facebook, and that was a surprise to us. It was, of course, Mother's father, Giuseppe, who did it all, because Benedict had the photograph that Anna had sent him, and he was holding on to it for 3 days. And it was while he was out walking, as was his habit, he would walk the rosary, contemplating everything, and that's when he describes in the apostolic letter, looking at the shroud beside the photograph that Anna sent, that he was filled with the love and compassion of God, and he knew that he was looking at God in Brian Leonard, and he wanted to put it in a place of honour, and it was Father Giuseppe who uploaded as the cover page photograph. Once he came to the conclusion, this can be nothing else other than the return to Christ. So that was the first public announcement. As you know, social media, it's the public, and you found out everything is public. That was the first public announcing to the world, I have met the Christ, Brian Leonard Marshall, through the email. Finally, I think were his words.
Yeah.
And it was so that's the day that the conclave convened. Now, I had already alerted the cardinals in charge of the conclave. I had sent the fax This happened days before even the recognition by... I started faxing Rome and New York and Washington, D.C. on the 8th of March. I faxed them the news and the Shroud overlay photograph, the Christ is returned. And I actually said, because we had sent the information to the Vatican on February the 26th. So it went through the Vatican while Benedict was still within the Vatican walls. He was still the Pope. I had faxed him the information. It was sent to the prefect of the pontifical household, whose name I think was Cardinal James Harvey at the time, or Archbishop Harvey. It wasn't addressed to George Ganswain at that time. So they had already picked up the information off the fax from that day, because when Anna made first contact through the Facebook page, and she didn't know if it was a real one or another, somebody else behind
I remember.
It was a surprise to her when she asked, is this really the page for Pope Benedict? Yes. And anyway, it started. And she said to them, do you know of this man, Brian Leonard Golightly Marshall? And they came back and said yes. And frankly, they didn't want to hear anything more about it. Is this about Brian Leonard Golightly Marshall? They didn't want to hear anything more about it because they'd already been notified. And this was 2 days before the closure, his retirement of his papacy. Right. So now we're up to, I believe it was March the 9th when Anna made first contact, and then communications, hours passed, etc., waiting for answers. And they said to her, seriously, come to Castel Gandolfo and knock at the door and ask for, I think they were alluding to Archbishop George Ganswain at that time. Of course, she was in Germany and it wasn't possible, but she persisted. She broke through to get the attention, and they granted her the half-hour audience through live email, where Pope Benedict requested for the photograph of Brian Leonard Golightly Marshall. And she sent that one where he's sitting. It was actually in conversation with Grant Barlow on that video, and I believe it was Sherry at the time who screen captured it and put it beside the shroud, and that's the one I think that Anna sent. And of course I had sent the overlay one through to Anna, and she ended up forwarding all of those. So he's bombarded, and when he saw the photograph, immediately he came back. I want to speak to Mr. Marshall now. And it was 3:16 our time. We was asleep. So he had to wait.
I remember all that transpiring. That was pretty awesome. But I think even at that time I was still in denial about it. I was thinking, oh, this is all fake. Because I was just looking for reasons to not,
Well, that was only 2 years ago, John. It was, 4.5 years ago that you came in?
Yeah. So that tells you how, I started going down rabbit holes and looking for all kinds of other crazy stuff, but you know what? I kept listening to you, and I kept listening to you, and I just couldn't get away from you. The angels weren't going to let me. Yeah, they worked on me pretty hard for a long time, and we got to the point where it was just like, okay, I give up. I know it's him. I'm not going to deny him. I know it's him. And I never did. I was always respectful of y'all, because in the back of my mind, I knew I was afraid of you when I first met you.
Good, you need to be. I tell you what, there's those that have come here who have been expelled, never to return. They came in their own ego and way too soon. You have waited this long, because I tell you what, if there is offence brought in here, as has been done by at least 2, probably 3 that I can think of, then there's no way back. Much better to be very circumspect and go slowly.
In fact, her mother is on very thin ice.
Yeah, I know. I just got an interesting text. Essenes Rising accepted your friend request. I can't even remember when I posted on that. That had to be a long time ago.
Yeah, well, that's Eric. Lovely man.
Was it?
Yeah. Maintenance man. He's the maintenance man for the kingdom. I told him he was going to be responsible for maintaining the Vatican when we take it over.
Now, a little message for your wife from me. Just tell her that I love her. I'd like her to come over and just check us out. And then if she thinks we are not what you say we are, then she can go back.
I'll tell her that.
She's welcome.
Yes, so is Jessie, all of them.
No stress, no bullshit. Just have a
no.
holiday, right? Check it
Go for a
out.
holiday.
Nothing about you.
Yeah,
I knew that. I've known that all along.
yeah.
I knew that. Like I said, I wasn't even around. Actually, when I first met you, I was ready to come see you, but I probably would have been prepared for what I was going to experience at that point. I'm a lot more prepared now. You know, it's like I don't have any doubt in who you are anymore. And
people really do. If people are hiding things in their life, they can't come here because it is exposed. We learned that ourselves. You cannot come here and expect that if you are indulging in stuff that is offensive, that it's going to remain secret. No way. It's exposed and then they're cast out. That's it.
I told Peter today, Peter knows my issue and I know his issue, what our issue was. And I know y'all knows too. And it took me a long time to beat that. I thought I had it under control, but I didn't. But when I had that last dream about you, that was the best dream, y'all. It was so unbelievable. I'll tell you this story. Probably already everybody knows it, but the dream was I was sitting in a it was basically like a bar restaurant, big bar all the way to the left over here, and then over here were all these tables, and you were just sitting over there. You were by yourself at the time, just sitting at that table. I can just remember, I could just see your backside. And someone's just ranting and raving about God this and God that. And why the hell would God do this? And I said, well, why don't you ask him yourself? He's sitting right over there. And next thing I know, the place is in an uproar. Oh, my God. Everybody's upset. Everybody's yelling, blah, blah, blah. And the next thing I know, we're in a courtroom. And Yah hands the papers. The proves he's exactly who he is. And the next thing, and everybody's in an uproar, and everybody's cheering. It's like all the saints are there. And next thing I know is we're out in the street, and I remember saying to you, and people are just going by us like this, and you're standing. I think I'm kind of knelt down, sitting down on a curb, and you came walking up to me as all the crowd's going this way. You walk right up to me, and I said, "It's finally over, isn't it?" And you said, "No. It's only just begun. We've got a lot of work to do."
Totally.
Yeah.
Right on.
And that morning, let's see, what happened? What was the number for that day? I can't remember. Because there was a number on that one that basically said I was going to be building the paradise, basically.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what number came up that day. I can't remember. I wish I could remember off the top of my head, but I can't. Because right away I went and looked, and I was like, yep. There's my confirmation again.
Well, wasn't that when you weighed yourself for 2995 or something? Wasn't that it?
No, because I had that. Well,
I think it was.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
That's right.
You're right. It was. It was 2998. Because that was the morning I got up and weighed myself. That's right.
That's it. Well, it's all coming to pass, and
it is.
As a matter of fact, this is really odd. I told everybody about the igniter that was going off on the stove last night, an impossibility unless you're holding it in. Well, this morning, we've moved out into this much lighter area, as you know, in the last few days. Well, in what was our office room there, you've seen the lamp, the floor lamp, the shade, and Yah was sitting in his high-backed chair, and he's at the computer in there, when, I don't know how, because I didn't see it happen, but Yah, the high back of his chair is now caught up 6 inches on the inside of the lamp shade. It's like the lamp came forward and placed itself over the back of his chair. So now when he put his head back, he's back against the lampshade.
Very odd.
Again, an impossibility. Because the back of his chair was 6 inches up inside the lampshade. And he's what the hell is going on? And it's like, you know, the light is coming forward. The light is now going to be dispelling the darkness. And thanks to Jesse.
Well, when driving back yesterday, there was it was overcast, and a strip of light, apparently from the sun, was stretched right across the sky, but it wasn't tapered. It was just one narrow wedge of light.
And it was red.
Never seen anything like it. And it was red, yeah.
Mm.
Little things like that.
A very cloudy sky. It was very weird, very odd. Anyway, there's all kinds of things. And of course, Ross Manley was evicted on the 22nd of July, which is the 11th anniversary that I was evicted from Canada, and that was all pathetic. So now, this is interesting. I discussed this with Ross last night, as I do. I asked him, I found out what date. He said he thought he had 90 days under the eviction terms. He thinks his landlord, of course, is a Jew, probably. But his eviction date ended up falling on October the 20th. And when I counted from Armageddon date, Yah's age, 28th of September, it's 22 days until October 20th. Now, Yah has always said that he felt within him that there would be a period of mourning on the earth for those who have been cast off. Remember, evil has to go. The meek inherit the earth.
We love some of those people.
That's right. And he always felt it would be a 22-day period. So it is all up there for, we're looking at the signs that come our way. And again, it's the angels know exactly what's going on. We just reveal where it is in time, as Yah has always revealed through the measure against time, his age, from his rebirth and his conception, and then distance, of course, from his rebirth location. That's how he's been able to expose all things. So, we're just where anything can happen, we're just one day at a time. We just continually say we are every day, one day closer. And but certainly eviction was the theme for the 22nd of July.
Well, what was the significance of yesterday's date?
Now, I said it first thing in the morning. Yesterday was the 27th.
Well, I'll get the book. You can read out. I've written it down what it is and put it up on your computer.
We'll reveal this.
Because today it's the same date today where I'm
right, the 27th. All right. Well, I said yesterday morning. This is again the 11th anniversary of my touching down in Australia. After being evicted, I was evicted the 22nd. I flew out, which was my breakthrough, the 25th of July, which was the 7/7 of my breakthrough, and I had been given these instructions by the angels on the 1st of May. So it all happened ahead of time, and it happened according to what they revealed to me, as long as I obeyed them. So the touchdown in Australia was the 27th. So Yah's going to get the numbers that he was working on at the time that we found out about the fire being lit. And this marvellous publicity that everybody's been trying to squash. There must be a few of the swedge out there spewing right now, let's hope so. And certainly all of those who support them.
I haven't seen any good comments on there yet. But
no, you won't. We don't expect it. We don't care. That's not what it's about. Nobody's looking for it.
I was really torn, because I really wanted to comment, but I knew I couldn't.
Yeah.
I would have been overwhelmed. I would have been inundated, and they would have done nothing but ridicule me and try. And I quite frankly thought about calling all the saints right away and say, "Hey, I need some help here."
No, don't bother. Just let them go. These are the contempt. This is what it boils down to. This is why nobody wants to. And I think it was Gabe who had a dream last year where he woke up and the announcement had gone out, but it's not a happy. You see, it is not a happy for the majority. People are looking forward to Jesus coming back and like a fairy tale and wave a magic wand and we go back to restoration. No, it's judgment, and it is not happy for the 99.99% of adults. This is what the reality is. God is offended.
The biggest enemy of Christ is the Catholic Church, and the Christian churches, the Jews and the Muslims.
And Benedict, if it was all for the saving of Benedict as Peter, then that's it. However, he does take over. And all right, I'm just going to read now.
27.
This is from Jeremiah 25:27. And this was at the moment of time that we found out about it, wasn't it? 10 p.m. when we thought that it first came through. But anyway, therefore thou shalt say unto them, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, drink ye and be drunken and spew and fall and rise no more because of the sword which I will send among you. And it continues to 28, and it shall be, if they refuse to take the cup at thine hand to drink, then thou shalt say unto them, thus saith the Lord of hosts, ye shall certainly drink. Now, it goes on, and all last night was about divorcement. Divorcement, divorcement, divorcement. Now, it's a microcosm playing out in your life. I call it the prophetic parallel that you know. But it's a microcosm of what God has divorced Israel. It's already done in the heavenly realm. And who are Israel? The Protestant churches, the nations of the West, supporting the beast Israel, controlled by Beelzebub, by the Lord of the Flies, whatever you want to call it, the devil, Satan, Lucifer, through the house of Rothschild. So it is not a happy, and nobody wants the news. First of all, he turns up as a thief. I've said this over and over, and nobody knows when a thief will come. It is only after the advent that they realise he has. And only then if the thief actually, I've visited, I've knocked at your door, and you have not recognised. And how much simpler can it get? I keep calling it the blatantly obvious. For the pure in heart. As Jesus, he said, the pure in heart shall see God. How? Because it's my image, or the image of the Father rather, the soul within Jesus, on the Shroud of Turin. And those who are pure in heart only will see and recognise it and humble themselves. You see, Pope Benedict is the standard. He is the most celebrated theologian throughout all of the world, supposedly. Yet he had to be humbled. And what humbled him? He saw God. Where?
I remember.
The blatantly obvious. Exactly.
Yeah.
And still then, I had to bring out the sword and whip him into shape and warn him. Do not offend the Holy Ghost. Who is Brian Menegolati, Marshall? It won't be pretty. The angels will take you out. Well, that's the truth.
You were very stern with them.
Oh, absolutely. Who is he? But another deluded man. That's what it boiled down to. But he humbled himself, and of course he is Peter. So it was his only purpose in life to rise to that position, the head of the 1.2 billion Catholic. That's the book of the Revelation.
The other number is Psalm 144:13. Read that. And then I'll give you the stars, what it says.
Okay, 144:13, that our garners may be full, affording all manner of store, that our sheep may bring forth thousands and 10,000s in our streets. That was the multitudes. So
what I did and always do is measure from Jupiter out to all of the planets, and it was a total of 134.79 astronomical units, and the word is dikaiousis, which is acquittal for Christ's sake. And then the stars directly above at the time relate to this. From conception, many, that's when they will be conceived, many millions will multiply, increase, especially in number. Now, that's the only time I've seen anywhere in the Bible where it uses the word millions. It's usually multitudes or
thousands and thousands.
Thousands and thousands, that type of thing.
I never heard that verse.
No.
No.
Many millions.
But I was just thinking as you were sitting there talking about, people are thinking they're always going to come down and forgive them all, and everybody's going to be good and everything. There's plenty of passages where you told them they need to overcome. I don't know why they didn't get it.
Yeah.
And I remember a distinct one, and I think that had something to do with you. I'm not sure, but where the men brought the woman in for adultery, and they wanted to stone her, and he said, "He who's guiltless cast the first stone." Of course, they all ran out the door and hid. He said to her, "Huh?"
That because of who I was at that time, they brought my wife in,
That was me.
who was caught in adultery. That was Martha, because I was married to Mary Magdalene, and the time had run up where she hadn't conceived. So now we had to start working on
In secret.
in secret, and it was Lazarus that actually caught us in the act.
And he was sent to die by Mary Magdalene.
So they brought in Martha, and he was amongst them, Lazarus. That was his sister. And he was a Pharisee, and brought the adulterous woman. See, it doesn't matter about a man. I mean, King David had 8 wives, right? Jacob went into brothels and all sorts of things. So what the man does is not important. What the woman does is very important, because she can carry the seed of another man's child and say it is the husband's child. So that is adultery, and that is a death sentence in those days. Stoning was the thing. So Martha was brought to the Lord, and I was just scribbling on the sand, very confident, of course, and just saying, well, first out there, they've already got the stones ready to go, and anyone who hasn't sinned, cast his first stone. And that was it. They all walked away.
You knew. Yeah.
So it's just out thinking these morons, right? That's all. So we're doing the same today. Yeah. We're out thinking these morons. And
the other one that I can't understand why people don't get, they really don't get it, is the passage where you said to them, you said that no one has seen the Father.
Yeah.
No one spoke to the Father, no one's seen the Father except through me.
That's right.
And people just don't understand that. And it's so simple.
Yeah. But they can't get rid of the Moses bullshit of the Judaism, you see, because Judaism and Christianity has been moulded together with another Pharisee lot that come in after a self-appointed apostle, which is Saul, whose name is Paul, and Saul in Hebrew, if you take it one word away, it's Satan. So I often said, what if it was Jesus one word away to Satan? And what do people think? Well, Paul was a Pharisee, and the Pharisees all come out of Babylon. So the Babylonian secret religion is all to do with inventing Moses, to give the tithing, the control of the masses out of fear, being stoned to death or crucified. That's what it's all about, fear. Love don't work that way. You don't crucify people if they disagree with you. And therefore, in the end time, people have had constantly the love available to them through the idea of Jesus being God in the flesh at the time, and carrying on through the Gospels, and the Jews get into it and alter it, plagiarise it. There's hardly a verse I've read which is still accurate. But
yeah, well, that was perfectly evident today with all the people that were posting verses. They were trying to, give the verse of, not looking for you in the woods. If there be false prophets, there'll be false Christ. Yeah. They'll call Messiah. And I'll tell you what, there was several posts, and every one of them were worded different. I thought, you guys, you can't even see this? I know they're pertaining to the same thing, but each one was worded different.
Yeah.
And it was like, that just shows you right there how many Bibles have been changed over the years, and they never followed what you told them. Don't change it one dot or one tittle.
Well, that's right. Well, we've got a whole book is full of bullshit. So it's a matter then of saying, okay, let the bullshit flow, let the Jews do what they want, control the world through a 1611 Bible, but not realise that it's in the words and the number count. That all line up with the Lord of Hosts. Lord of Hosts means Lord of Heaven, who comes to the earth. It only applies now. It doesn't apply to any other time. So it's now. That's the end of it. Checkmate.
Yeah. Checkmate.
Well, it's just like what your son-in-law did. A little tiny comment here and there. He's probably feeling a bit pissed off at himself afterwards. But maybe he's trying to get even with some little psychological mishap that he might have had. And suddenly it goes viral all over the world. Even the Daily Mirror's got hold of it. Right? So...
my wife,
that's the miracle of
I was
it.
ready to freaking tell about every bad thing I did today. I said, you better be careful. You're going to start a fire that you're not going to be able to put out.
You can't put this out.
Jesus, he talked about the fire that he wished it was time to light then. But he said it's not time. The fire that will consume the earth. Well, this is it. And that's why our igniter was going off last night. It's angelic. They were giving us a clue. Hello, go on Facebook.
Here we are standing there looking at this very expensive stove. And it's firing away, click, 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 click. Oh dear, here we go.
Our
Out of time,
oh, wait on, what is that?
Yeah.
You've got to plug it in.
122.
What is that?
Well, you're probably disconnected someone on your line.
Oh,
I'm here.
She's having camera problems again. Plug it in and make sure it's plugged in over there. And you'll probably find
You didn't let her run the camera again, did you?
Yes, I did.
Is it plugged in there at the transformer?
It is. It's there. I don't know how. It hasn't moved.
I didn't touch it.
I know. Well, it's like last night. We weren't touching anything since stuff was happening.
Ah.
See what happens now. All right.
So paradise begins, the loved ones will be with you, otherwise it's not paradise, is it?
Can't wait, y'all.
It's all the cross you've got to bear, John. It's nearly over.
Yeah, I know. Today was actually a pretty exciting day, actually. It was that guy this morning that really, it was like funny because John Hall says, have you seen the news? I'm like, what? He goes, oh boy, you got to see this. And I'm like, what? And then when I saw it, I was like, wow. This guy said this morning to me, I'll probably hopefully I'll read about you in the paper. Hopefully I'll read about you is what he said. And I was like, and then a minute, John, I looked up that thing and John said that. I went right to that guy. I was like, why would he say that to me? I mean, come on. It was a random comment. Why would you say, hopefully I'll read about you?
Yeah. Funny, isn't it?
Yeah, they're reading about me right now. They just don't know who I am yet.
Yeah, that's right.
Totally.
Yeah, I'm not even going to touch any of it, so I'm just going to let it lie. Let the fire burn.
Totally.
Well, that's what happens, isn't it?
Yeah, and just keep publishing it everywhere. Stoke the flames.
So it doesn't matter who, good or evil, flicks a match into a forest. Once it starts burning, run for the hills, right?
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of evil out there which we're going to be straightening out very shortly.
That's pretty obvious. Like, there was an interesting post today, actually, someone had on about those monster drinks. There was a woman that was exposing the whole thing on that monster drink. The one with the 666 on it, that everybody drinks and gives it to their kids, and they all love it. And it's this energy drink. It's a monster drink.
Never heard of it.
There is so much Satanistic stuff on that thing. It was unbelievable. I had no idea. All I knew was about the 666, but the upside down cross when you drink it, it says something about MILFs love it, and you'll love it too. The word on the bottom actually spells the F word, and then it even says it on the side of the can. I can't believe no one's ever got it. I didn't get it, so I guess I know it's pretty lucky. I don't drink that junk anyways.
No, it's all.
Well, we've never heard of it.
Yeah, it's called Monster Drink.
Yeah,
I'll send you a link to it. It's Hebrew. It's number 6 3 times in Hebrew.
Yeah.
Isn't there another drink called Rock something? Another
Rockstar, yeah.
Yeah.
Rockstar.
Yeah. I knew about that one years ago.
Well, it's just like all the cars right now, y'all, over here in America, and I don't know if you recognize it over there, but all the cars now, their front grills look like the Phoenix Rising. There's no question in my mind that's exactly what it looks like.
Really? No, I never noticed.
Yeah. Now that I said something, you will. All the news cars have it on there. It's pretty interesting. So, but It's just like all the clothing that the women wear. You know, they don't even realize that it's amazing. Where I came from, if there was a skull and a crossbone on something, you were taught to stay clear.
Yeah, that's right.
And now, I mean, everybody's like, "Oh, it's so cute. Look at it." And they put it on their little kid.
Yeah.
Oh, look at the skull and crossbones. I said, you know, where I came from, that isn't something you would be putting. It's like this makeup called naked.
Yeah.
My wife has it. And this naked, well, there's this skull and crossbones on it. And I thought, now, where I come from, again, if the makeup had skull and crossbones on it, they're trying to tell you something.
Right. Do you know that when the English ships come back in, to this day, the English Navy always fly the skull and bones, the flag?
Yeah.
I've got to tell you something.
Yeah. Tell me about about the ships and the berthing and the water and all that. Because isn't there something about that they have to do before they come into land?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Well, it's the birth certificate. What happens when a ship pulls in, let's say it's got a couple of $100,000 worth of goods on it. When it's given a birth certificate, the Maritime Board takes a note of it. So when it's landed on the land, it increases the value of the country. So it's called a birthing certificate.
BERTH.
When you ship something out, it's a reverse. And then the other country has a birth certificate. That then becomes a basis of the straw man, because when a woman gives birth, then there's a certificate issued for the baby because it's come out of the water of her womb onto the land. And this is the sickness of the insane, lovely people, the Jews, it's behind it. However, this is what it's all to do with, and it all goes back to the Talmud, which is the Mishnah, which is out of Babylon. That's a Babylonian secret religion of Moses, right?
And of course, you can't trade the cargo of a ship unless a birthing certificate is raised. It's about trade and commerce.
Yeah,
so
it's all trade.
With our birth certificates, a 9-digit, it's a bond, commercial bond.
So that commercial bond on the baby is what's traded on the stock market. So when a person dies in a war or because of some illness that they've picked up on the food they're poisoning you with, or the vaccinations in America in particular, when that person dies, whoever owns your birth certificate gets paid out, and it's in the millions.
Yeah.
Hundreds of millions.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've
Yes, we've exceeded our time.
Long overdue. It's been wonderful having you on, John. The guys in the chat room are really enjoying it.
Me too. I'm really enjoying it.
And,
Bye, everybody.
And
love you all.
Good work. Well done. And tell Jesse, well done.
I will. I already told him thank you, so he knows.
Don't forget the message for your wife.
Yes.
I will. I'll tell her. All right.
All right. Hasta la vista, baby.
All right, guys.
Hasta la vista. Well, you know what my favorite is, y'all? When you always say bye, you always say mate.
Mate. Hasta la vista, mate.
Love you guys.
So, yeah.
Later, Gators. All right, everybody over in the chat rooms, thank you for being there. It was awesome.
Do you want to run through the film on what's up there, which we haven't seen yet? Hasn't been broadcast, so the people who might catch this later can have a look at what's going on. You can pick it up on STV, this computer.
Yes, I will. I'll have to, because I'll have to.
So, John, we're just going to go over and see what your son-in-law
started.
The little match thrown into a dry forest, and we're going to put it up on the screen and play it slowly so people understand what we're talking about if they just come in for the first time.
Now, I have to go into Facebook and get the link.
So we're just opening up Facebook, and actually, I've never been on Facebook. I don't play with it at all, and although I am on it apparently.
Yeah. Well, yes, we've opened accounts. Joel has, and it's all about getting the word out.
So all these things I say on Facebook is not me.
I always identify myself as speaking.
I always know who it is.
Yeah.
I've been talking to you through Ash since I met you.
Well, that's it. I'm the first line of and everything I write. I mean, at one point years ago, I wrote this lengthy discourse explaining everything, and there was an argument amongst a couple of people about who wrote it. One said it was Yah, and the other said, no, it came from Ash. Well, it was me, because since I found him, that's my job. Martha does the work. So I pick up his mind. I picked up on it to find him. I had to. And so I write with his authority, and I always check to make sure, is that right? And I get the okay, and away we go. But I don't have to ask him what to write. As a matter of fact, when I say to him, well, you write it, so he starts to type nowadays, and he says, so what am I going to say? All right, I'm just trying to find this link.
It's in the email.
No, I'll get it here. It'll be faster.
Dick sent it to me in an email.
Yeah, I'm already in Facebook.
This technology is quite amazing, you know.
Say again?
The technology is quite amazing. I'm just sitting back and watching this, and here you are, you're in America, and now we're coming up with the Daily Mail out of Australia, and that is then gone...
yes,
well,
here it is.
How many hits we had so far? Recommendations? What do you say?
4.1 thousand shares, 4,100 shares.
So it's gone up 4,100 from in about 10 hours, 11 hours.
Yeah, and it's still at 1.3 thousand comments. That was several hours ago. But anyway, the man who thinks he's Jesus, Queensland cult leader, claims to be the Messiah and says his face is a carbon copy of the Shroud of Turin. Australian man claims he is the second coming of Jesus of Nazareth. I like the bullet points. He's arranged it all in bullet points, this dude. Brian Marshall.
He did a beautiful job.
Yes, he did. Says
is it on camera, by the way?
Yes, it's still, everything is, yeah. Brian Marshall says the Shroud of Turin. I'll zoom in a bit with the camera, hang on. All right, okay.
You want to turn it?
That's okay, it's got it now. The Shroud, okay. The Shroud of Turin, he is Jesus reincarnated. 71-year-old claims to have a letter from Pope Benedict confirming claim. American man says his father-in-law was tricked into following Mr. Marshall. He believes this guy, Brian Marshall, is Jesus Christ, son-in-law says. And then it continues. An Australian man believes the Shroud of Turin proves he is the second coming of Jesus Christ. And he says the Vatican is convinced too. Brian Golightly Marshall lives in Toogoom, Queensland, about 300 kilometres north of Brisbane, and claims to be the reincarnation of Jesus of Nazareth. The 71...
You got it right!
Yes! The 71-year-old has published a number of images and videos he claims prove he is the image seen on the Shroud of Turin, a religious artefact that some believe bears the image of Jesus. Now, I'd just like to point out to the world that might be listening right now is Yah hasn't published anything. Pierre has a heck of a lot. Chuka has, Joel has. The ones who, they've done all the work. It was... You know, we just upload what we upload. Now, of course, there's this famous picture. This was in Hurghada by the Red Sea, when once again I have dressed Yah up. We each had a white robe because, you know, we're in Egypt now. You do as the Egyptians do. And he was given a shawl by a Muhammad. So I said, okay, time for another photo shoot, you know, dress up, as I did in Rome. And this was the result. Well, of course, it's perfect. So underneath that photo is Brian Golightly Marshall, 71, believes the Shroud of Turin proves he is the second coming of Jesus Christ. And he says the Vatican is convinced. And actually he's absolutely right there. It's the Shroud of Turin that does prove everything because it's all in the numbers. the measurements that Yah has exposed now for a very long time. It says it all. So Mr. Marshall has also recorded hundreds of videos where he preaches. Well, I wouldn't say he preaches. I'm the preacher in the family. He teaches in a heavy Australian accent while wearing a Hawaiian shirt. It's actually Fijian. To his growing flock of followers. Now, that's the funny part.
Yeah, there's 4 of you.
In the catalogue of bizarre videos and writings, he repeatedly mentions the scars on his hands and feet were from Jesus was nailed to the cross, while also declaring himself to be the most holy man. This is where I take umbrage. It's the Holy Ghost.
One knee hurting your elbow.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, babe. He is the Holy Ghost, not the most holy man at all. It is, he's the most royal man, but he is the Holy Ghost. Sensationally, Mr. Marshall also shared a letter he said was sent to, now the editing of this article really is desirous, but anyway, was sent to his by Pope Benedict, which refers to him directly as Jesus Christ reincarnated. And then he's quoting from In Christum Credent. You see, many days ago, Mr. Brian Marshall sent me photographs of him and the Most Holy Shroud of Turin. He actually looks so much like that of the Holy Shroud, of the Holy Image on the Shroud, end quote, the alleged letter from Pope Benedict reads. And of course it continues. The other person from the Mirror got the quote in full, that there is no other explanation. And then of course there's that wonderful photograph of Yah from his Facebook that I uploaded with that look straight into the camera, the blue of his eyes. Mr. Marshall has recorded hundreds of videos where he preaches in a heavy Australian accent while wearing a Hawaiian shirt to his growing flock of followers. And then the Comforter, Brian Leonard Golightly Marshall, the new name of God, again with that wonderful photograph I took while we were in our upper room in Rome. I had Yah dressed up once more. He was actually wearing a towel over his head with the doona, the comforter from the bed wrapped around him. I said, you have to get into character. You know, this is what they are expecting. Anyway, underneath that, it says, most sensationally, Mr. Marshall also shared a letter which he said was sent to his from Pope Benedict, which refers directly to him as Jesus Christ reincarnated. And then he's quoting from the letter again, but he misquotes it. He says there is no other explanation. He is simply the Lord Jesus Christ Almighty. Quoting still, I was so penetrated with love and compassion from God that I requested a photo. Then I saw to be put in a place of honour somewhere. He is the most royal man alive, the King of Kings, the Messiah, Almighty and everlasting. Have faith in him. And then, of course, the 12 series of progressive shots that Pierre has done, this time as stills, with Yah, that Rome photograph, and the overlay of the Shroud of Turin. And then, of course, we've got, again, another photograph I took, where we were standing beside Lake Albano, just outside of Castel Gandolfo, where it was that Benedict made the announcement and had been held hostage until they realised that we were in the area, because we're uploading photographs like this and the videos from the courtyard outside the Summer Palace of the Vatican at Castel Gandolfo. So they moved Benedict, of course, 10 days early. He was supposed to move out on May the 12th, when suddenly he's out of there May the 2nd. It was April the 28th we arrived, started uploading. And so continuing in this, it goes, in addition to the letter, Mr. Marshall stated former Pope Benedict planned to officially proclaim him the second coming in March 2013. Well, he did accomplish that, hence the apostolic letter, only to have the announcement, that was the video recording, foiled by Pope Francis, who he refers to as the Antichrist. And of course he is. He's standing in opposition to the Christ. Other posts on Mr. Marshall's Facebook, and Brian has not looked at them, he doesn't know what's on there, page are pictures of his car. This is the ute that I bought him, dubbed, that I called the Ark of the Covenant, his pet cat, which is now gone, and his plants. I don't know what his plants are. We've got one plant in this whole place, but anyway, I'll have to go and check it out, see what they're referring to. The 71-year-old's reach even extends as far as the United States, where one man has been convinced into abandoning his family, selling his home, and we've just learned it's condemned, it can't be sold, and moving to Australia to be with Mr. Marshall. And then we've got the trailer that Chuka made, and you heard yesterday, did you, John, about Chuka's message to us? He's been poisoned twice. Yes. Yeah. So Brian Marshall claims he is Jesus Christ in the Captain of Salvation trailer brought to us by Chuka Marshall Productions. And this is what I love the most, because I did this, of course, for the radio program. It's that wonderful rainbow, the Christ Comforter, Father, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, Brian Leonard Golightly Marshall. And then I've got Burning in Flames, Almighty God, BLGM, is taking back his rainbow. The LGBT will be destroyed as they were at Sodom and Gomorrah in their day, and the LGBT rainbow burning in the flames. Mr. Marshall, it says underneath, shares a number of his controversial beliefs with his followers online. A concerned man, this is where Jesse comes in, who lives in California, said his American father-in-law, whose name is John Lynchworld, has decided to leave behind his wife, children and grandchildren to live with the religious cult. Honey, how many live in this house with us?
One.
Well, Joel's actually been away for almost 3 months. He's been here for a couple of years as the witness, but outside of you and me, that's it. Speaking...
And a kookaburra. See?
Oh, the kookaburra, yeah. Now, this is where it's interesting, because Jesse said he did not get back to the reporter, didn't he? Didn't he, John?
Yeah.
He said he didn't speak to him. So this journalist says, speaking to Daily Mail Australia, the man said he did not want to share family details due to the embarrassment felt by his wife, who was still coming to terms with the news her stepfather was abandoning her. Oh dear. In a post which first appeared on Reddit, now this was a comment left by Jesse, that was it. The man said his father-in-law's... Oh, now this absolutely did not, because I've got the Reddit comment. The man said his father-in-law's mental fragility, hello, is being taken advantage of, and is worried about the damage his leaving will do to the remaining family members. John, what do you have to say about your mental fragility?
I'm pretty stable, I have to say.
You're one of the most stable men I've ever come across, and I'm sure those listening to the radio are having a good laugh. Yes.
People that know me know who I am. They know what I'm all about.
Yeah, that's right. And then we've got the beautiful picture of a kookaburra looking deep into the eyes of Yah, and Mr. Marshall at home on his Australian property where he conducts his teachings. Well, you know, this Australian rental property, which is a little bit of yard outside of this very large house, which I called the big box when we first moved in. Now this part I object to. It's got our Fiji wedding day, December the 4th, 2010. It's got my face all blurred out. Hello?
What the hell was that about? I looked at that too, I'm like, what'd they block her face out for?
Totally. It goes on, my wife's stepdad is a really nice guy. He's great with the kids, but he believes in some bull ... shit. He wrote, he believes this guy, Brian Leonard Golightly Marshall, is Jesus Christ. He told his wife that he's going to go to Australia to be with him, leaving her and his kids and grandkids to be with this guy. John, describe how many children are yours and how many stepchildren. What's your family makeup, just to clarify?
My family makeup is I have 2 of my own children, which one lives in Oregon. My son, his name is Kyle.
And how old is Kyle?
Kyle is, let's see, Oh, gosh. Now you're going to make me think. Born in 1986.
He's going to be 30 next year.
Yeah, 30 next year. He's 29 right now. He's 30 in February 4th. And then I have a daughter, which should be 28. She's living in Michigan. These are my two.
Yes.
And then my stepkids consist of Chelsea, which is the one that they're referring to.
Yes.
And my stepson is Adam.
Right.
And they're both wonderful kids. I love them both.
Of course you do.
But I know Chelsea's having a hard time because she hasn't said anything to me about it, not one word.
Of course. Well, you've been...
I haven't had a chance to talk to her yet, so I need to talk to her and let her know that everything's okay.
So the point is, these are all adult children who are well into their own lives, and...
Oh, yeah, they're all well into their own lives.
Yes.
And then I have a couple adopted kids, kind of. I have Carlos and Levi. You know, these are kids that came to live with me from Denise's side of the family. At one time, in fact, half of Denise's family at one time or another came to live with us one time or another. I took in Denise's my sister's mother-in-law at one point. She lived with us for several months. Actually, 2 times she came to live with us. We had a mother-in-law of my mother-in-law come to live with us. We had my niece, one of my nieces lived with us for quite some time, and one of my other nieces lived with me for some time. So I actually, hold on, let me cancel this. It's going to shut down. Okay. My computer was going to do its automatic shutdown on me. But yeah, these people know who I am. They know that I'm a good person. I've never done anything to these people but love them.
Of course. Now, I was just thinking, if you said that you were going on a pilgrimage to Mecca or India or even to go and spend a few months with the Russian dude who comes down once a year, probably be fine. Good, take time out.
Yeah, it would have been fine as long as the masses are with it and it's all over TV. It's good. It's a good deal.
All right, so we're continuing in this article and quoting Jesse again. My mother-in-law and him have fought about this several times in the past. She doesn't buy into it. He's said he's going to leave before and it didn't happen. But it sounds like it's really going to this time. They had a realtor come over and everything. Yes, and condemn everything. No sale. Oh dear, what a story. And then this is one of Gabe's shroudy images. Christ has returned. And more of Gabe's Christ has returned. And that's it. That's the end of the article. 4.1 thousand shares. Now,
man, that was a great article, wasn't it?
Wasn't it a great article? I read it and I thought, I think this guy is actually for us. He had to have gone... Liam Quinn, yes.
Liam Quinn.
Yes.
Thank you, Liam Quinn.
Yes, and sounds like an Irishman.
Boy, is his boss going to be pissed off at him?
Well, who knows. But he had to have done the research to go in and find this and then dig to find out what the subject is all about, etc. Liam, come and stay with it. Come and visit. Do your in-depth research and interviews and learn. Somebody, please.
Yeah, really, huh?
Oh, man.
Beautiful piece on you.
Yeah. And then the Mirror picked it up as well, apparently, so that's all good. But, yes, there you have it. The fire. The lighting of the fire.
Yeah.
And the light...
Yeah.
Light
Still
out
there?
of the darkness. Yeah, still here. I'm just scrolling back up to the top. Now, it's up. We've been on the air 2 hours. We've really got to go now. So thank you, everybody, for your patience. John, great. Great to have you on. Love you too. And I'll just go over and turn off the speaker deck. All right, guys. Lady Gators, thanks for being in there for so long. It was awesome. So you can look forward to the YouTube catching John on the big screen. And 124 minutes and 26 seconds we're saying hasta
Lovely
la vista.
stuff, baby.